Think airports are just about long lines, overpriced sandwiches, and people sprinting to their gate? Not even close. Behind the glass walls and smiling announcements is an entire playbook of tricks. Some clever, some sneaky, and a few that'll make you question everything the next time you fly. From carpets designed to slow your brain down to free charging stations that aren't really free, these are the airport secrets airlines hope you never figure out. And stick around till the end, because the bonus tip could save you from one of the most stressful travel moments of all. Once you know these, you'll never look at airports the same way again. Number 1. Surveillance seats and charging ports. You finally find a seat in a crowded terminal. Jackpot. Even better, it's right next to a charging station. You plug in your phone, breathe out, and think, crisis averted. But here's the twist. Those spots are sometimes less about your convenience and more about watching you. Some airports quietly place seats and outlets in areas where security can keep closer tabs. We're talking hidden cameras, microphones, and even data logging ports. To you, it's just free power. To them, it's a perfect surveillance hotspot. Think about it. Airports know people gather around outlets when they're stressed, tired, and distracted. That makes it the best moment to observe behavior. And no, I'm not saying every charging port is secretly recording you. But in high security zones, don't be surprised if that free juice is also charging up someone's intel folder. So here's the takeaway. If your phone's dying, use your own power bank. And if you're about to rant on a call about lost luggage, maybe don't do it near the security kiosk. Because the walls, and maybe even the chairs, really do have ears. Number 2, the carpet trick. Ever notice how your pace suddenly slows down right after the security line? No, you didn't suddenly get tired dragging your carry-on. That's by design. Many airports use something called cognitive friction. Here's how it works. When you move from hard tiles to soft carpet, your brain gets a subtle signal to relax. The softer surface tricks you into taking smaller, slower steps. And the slower you move, the easier it is for security staff to keep crowds under control. Think of it like an invisible remote control for travelers. You walk in stressed, rushing, scanning for your gate. Then suddenly, plush carpet underfoot makes you shuffle instead of sprint. You're calmer, easier to manage, and less likely to cause chaos at checkpoints. And no, it's not for your comfort. If airports really cared about your feet, those chairs wouldn't feel like medieval torture devices. This is all behavioral design, a little psychology built right into the floor. So next time you feel yourself slowing down, don't blame your heavy luggage. Blame the carpet. It's quietly telling your brain to chill, while the airport keeps everything running smoothly. Number 3, the dirty truth about drinking fountains. You just cleared security, your water bottle's empty, and finally, a fountain. Free hydration in a place where water costs more than soda. Seems perfect, right? Not so fast. Studies have shown that many airport fountains go days, even weeks, without a proper deep cleaning. We're talking mold around the spout, bacteria clinging to the button, and a slimy layer called biofilm that builds up inside the pipes. And remember, hundreds of travelers press that same button every single day with hands that have touched, well, just about everything. Here's a gross comparison. Some airport fountains have tested dirtier than gas station bathrooms. Yes, bathrooms. So that free sip might also come with a side of E. coli or something your immune system wasn't prepared to fight. Of course, not every fountain is a petri dish, but unless you know which ones are regularly cleaned, you're basically gambling. So what's the safer play? Pack a refillable bottle and fill it from a filtered station if the airport has one. Or painful as it is, buy the overpriced bottle of water. Sometimes the expensive option is actually the healthier one. Number 4, passenger profiles and hidden watch lists. Think you're just another face in the sea of travelers? Not exactly. Long before you board, airport staff often have files about certain passengers. Frequent flyers, VIPs, people flagged for past behavior. They're not all treated the same. Here's how it works. Airlines and security teams share info. If you've ever caused a scene at baggage claim, argued loudly at the counter, or even just missed too many flights, there's a chance your name made a note in the system. Next time you travel, gate agents or flight attendants might already know to keep an eye on you. But it's not just troublemakers. Celebrities, diplomats, and high-paying customers also get flagged. Only in their case, it's for special treatment. That's why some people magically glide through check-in while you're still wrestling with the self-service kiosk. It's not personal, it's protocol. Airlines are constantly assessing who you are, how you behave, and what that might mean mid-flight. So if you're tempted to blow up at the counter when your bag goes missing, remember, that meltdown might follow you far beyond today's trip. Number 5. High-tech baggage scans. When you check your bag, it disappears behind a rubber curtain, and you probably imagine it just riding a conveyor belt to the plane. In reality, your suitcase is about to go on a solo mission through one of the most advanced scanning systems in the world. Inside hidden rooms, your luggage passes through explosive detection machines that make Superman's X-ray vision look outdated. These scanners don't just see what's on top. They can penetrate layers of fabric, detect chemical traces, and even flag unusual shapes hidden inside a shoe or a shampoo bottle. The process happens in seconds. Sophisticated algorithms analyze everything, from density to outline, and if something looks suspicious, your bag gets pulled aside for a hands-on inspection. You'll never know it happened unless security finds a reason to question you at boarding. Here's the crazy part. These systems are so sensitive they can sometimes pick up harmless items like a block of cheese that looks oddly like a plastic explosive on screen. So, if your bag gets randomly checked, it might not be random at all. It might just be your souvenirs looking guilty. Number 6. The overbooking game. Imagine this. You finally make it to the gate, ticket in hand, and the airline suddenly tells you there's no seat for you. How is that even possible? You paid for it, right? Welcome to one of the airline industry's oldest hustles, overbooking. Here's the deal. Airlines know that a certain percentage of passengers don't show up. Maybe they missed a connection. Maybe they canceled last minute. So, to squeeze every dollar out of a flight, they sell more tickets than there are actual seats. On paper, it looks brilliant. In practice, it's chaos when everyone shows up. That's when you hear the dreaded announcement, "We're looking for volunteers to take a later flight in exchange for compensation." If no one bites, someone gets bumped against their will. Yes, even with a confirmed ticket. And it's all perfectly legal. The irony? Airlines use years of data and algorithms to gamble with your travel plans. But when the gamble fails, it's the passenger who pays the price. So next time you hear that offer for a free voucher, just remember, it's not generosity, it's damage control. Number 7. Secret code words for emergencies. It's the announcement no one ever wants to hear mid-flight, that something serious has happened on board. But here's the thing, if it does, you'll probably never hear the words medical emergency or someone passed away. Instead, airlines use secret code words. Why? Simple. Panic spreads faster than turbulence. If a passenger suddenly becomes critically ill or even dies, the crew has to act quickly, quietly, and without alarming hundreds of people in a sealed metal tube at 35,000 feet. That's where phrases like Jim Wilson or Operation Sunrise come in. They sound like ordinary airline jargon, but to the staff they signal a very serious situation. Flight attendants are trained to keep their voices calm, their movements subtle, and the cabin atmosphere as normal as possible, even when something tragic is unfolding a few rows away. Most passengers never realize anything happened until after landing. So the next time you hear an oddly formal announcement that doesn't seem to make sense, it might not be just airline lingo. It could be the crew quietly managing a crisis behind the scenes. Number 8. ATM and currency traps. Ever noticed how airports conveniently place ATMs and currency exchange counters right after security or near the gates? That's no coincidence, it's a calculated trap. Airports know that by the time you get through security, you're stressed, rushing, and probably not thinking straight. That's when they hit you with some of the worst exchange rates and highest withdrawal fees on Earth. ATMs inside airports often belong to third-party operators, not your bank. That means hidden fees, inflated exchange rates, and sneaky options like dynamic currency conversion, which charges you in your home currency at a terrible rate. The screen might even highlight it as the recommended option, but it's the exact opposite. Currency exchange counters aren't much better. While they advertise no commission, the real cost is buried in the lopsided rates they set. In some cases, you're losing 10–15% of your money just for the convenience of getting cash on the spot. The smarter move? Use a bank ATM in the city or order some currency from your local bank before you fly. At the airport, those bright ATMs and glowing counters aren't there to help you. They're designed to squeeze you when you're most vulnerable. Number 9. The clean illusion. Trays, belts, seats. Airports sparkle on the surface. Polished floors, shiny windows, spotless restrooms. But here's the dirty secret. The places you actually touch are some of the germiest spots you'll ever encounter. Multiple studies have shown that security trays, conveyor belts, and even the seats at boarding gates harbor more bacteria and viruses than the average public toilet. Think about it. Every traveler drops phones, wallets, and passports into those gray trays. Some carry them fresh from bathrooms, some after sneezing into their hands. Rarely, if ever, are those trays sanitized during the day. The conveyor belts where your bags roll through, they're touched by thousands daily, and those surfaces almost never get wiped down. And those cozy fabric airport seats? They soak up sweat, skin particles, and food crumbs from countless passengers who sat there before you. Airports maintain the illusion of cleanliness, spotless floors and glass, because that's what you see. But the high-contact areas, the ones you actually use, tell a very different story. Smart travelers carry sanitizer, wipes, or even a small cloth to cover armrests and trays. Because in airports, clean often just means looks clean. Number 10. Price gouging in food and shops. Step into any airport food court and you'll notice something shocking. Prices that feel like they belong in a luxury hotel rather than a fast food counter. A bottle of water that costs $1 outside suddenly jumps to $4 or even $5 inside the terminal. A quick sandwich? Double, sometimes triple the price. This isn't an accident, it's deliberate. Airports know that once you've cleared security, you're essentially trapped in a captive market. You can't bring your own liquids past the checkpoint, and you don't have time to leave and re-enter just to find a cheaper meal. Shops take advantage of this, setting prices at whatever travelers are willing or forced to pay. But here's the secret. Not every item is gouged equally. Some airports have street pricing rules, meaning vendors are supposed to match city prices. The trick is finding which locations actually honor it, usually local coffee chains or convenience-style shops rather than big international names. And if you're desperate for water, head to a refillable station with your empty bottle. Number 11. Luggage auctions. What happens to luggage that never gets claimed? Airlines hold on to lost bags for about 90 days. If the owner never shows up, those bags don't just sit in storage forever. They're sent to public auctions. And here's the secret. Anyone can join in. In the US, for example, the famous Unclaimed Baggage Center in Alabama buys thousands of lost bags and sells the contents at discount. In Europe and Asia, airports sometimes hold direct auctions where bidders compete for sealed suitcases without knowing what's inside. It's a gamble. You might pay $50 and find only socks and toiletries. Or you could uncover designer clothes, jewelry, even high-end electronics worth thousands. Why don't airlines just give them back? The truth is, with millions of travelers every day, tags fall off, labels get smudged, and sometimes passengers never file a claim. To keep storage costs down, airlines quietly funnel these bags into the resale system. For travelers, this means two things. Always label your bags clearly with contact details, and if you're adventurous, keep an eye out for these auctions. They're a bizarre mix of risk, curiosity, and treasure hunting. Airport secrets most passengers never hear about. Number 12. Airport lounges. Access hacks. Most travelers think airport lounges are only for first-class passengers or elite frequent flyers. But here's the secret. Almost anyone can get in if you know the tricks. Many lounges partner with membership programs like Priority Pass or Lounge Key, which you can access through certain credit cards. Even basic travel cards often include a few free visits. Some lounges also sell day passes directly, sometimes for as little as $25, $40, which can be cheaper than buying food, coffee, and Wi-Fi separately in the terminal. Another overlooked hack: delayed or canceled flights. If you ask politely at the airline desk, they may grant lounge access as compensation. And in some airports, premium lounges aren't strictly tied to airlines. You can book access online in advance through apps like Lounge Buddy. The benefits can be huge. Free meals, showers, faster Wi-Fi, even private nap areas in certain international hubs. For long layovers, the lounge can literally change your entire travel experience, turning stress into comfort. The key is to plan ahead. Check which lounges are available at your departure or connection airports, and see if your card or a cheap pass gets you in. Once you've tried it, the regular terminal will never feel the same again. Number 13. Fake early arrivals, padded times. Ever notice how some flights seem to arrive early, and the airline proudly announces it over the intercom? Here's the secret. Many of those early arrivals are not miracles of speed. They're carefully engineered illusions. Airlines often use what's called schedule padding. They add extra time to the official flight duration, sometimes by 20-40 minutes. A trip that actually takes 2 hours might be listed as 2 hours and 30 minutes. Why? Because it boosts their on-time performance stats. If a flight lands even a few minutes before the padded schedule, it looks like they're delivering ahead of schedule, even if you actually arrived exactly when expected. This trick helps airlines brag about punctuality, reduces the number of delays reported, and keeps passengers slightly happier. After all, no one complains about being early, but for travelers, it can be misleading. You might plan a tight connection, thinking you have a generous layover, only to find the real flight time is shorter, and the extra time evaporates if there's bad weather or air traffic. So the next time your pilot announces an early arrival, remember, chances are you didn't gain time. They just built in a cushion to keep their records clean. Number 14. Pilots sleeping mid-flight. It might sound unsettling, but yes, pilots really do sleep while flying a plane. In fact, it's not just allowed in certain situations, it's actually encouraged for safety. On long-haul international flights, airlines are required to have multiple pilots on board. They rotate shifts, so while 1 or 2 pilots rest, another remains in the cockpit flying the plane. This ensures that no one is too fatigued during critical phases like takeoff and landing. These breaks usually happen in special crew rest areas hidden inside the aircraft. Compact but surprisingly comfortable bunks built above or below the cabin. But here's a lesser-known secret. Even on shorter flights, controlled cockpit naps are sometimes permitted. One pilot may take a brief, carefully timed nap at cruising altitude while the other remains alert. Studies show that a 20-40 minute nap can drastically improve focus and reduce the risk of fatigue-related mistakes. Of course, strict rules are in place. Both pilots cannot sleep at the same time, and the resting pilot must be awake well before descent begins. So while the thought might make passengers nervous, in reality, pilot naps are one of the most important safety measures keeping flights smooth and secure. Number 15. Ghost flights. Imagine boarding a plane with almost no one else on it, just a handful of passengers scattered across rows of empty seats. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, these flights exist and they're called ghost flights. A ghost flight isn't some spooky legend, it's an industry loophole. Airlines are required to keep their takeoff and landing slots at major airports. If they don't use them consistently, they risk losing those slots to competitors. To avoid this, airlines sometimes operate nearly empty flights just to maintain their rights. During the COVID-19 pandemic, ghost flights became a hot topic. With travel bans in place, some planes flew with only a few passengers, or none at all, just so airlines wouldn't lose valuable airport access. Even today, ghost flights still happen quietly, often in less busy routes or off-peak seasons. While it might sound like a golden opportunity for passengers to stretch out, the practice raises environmental concerns. Flying massive jets nearly empty burns a huge amount of fuel. Still, from an airline's perspective, the long-term value of keeping those slots outweighs the short-term losses. So next time you see a strangely empty flight, it might not be a coincidence. You could be on a ghost flight. Number 16. Bathroom trick after landing. You know that feeling when your plane touches down, the seatbelt sign turns off, and suddenly everyone jumps up to grab their bags? The aisle turns into a traffic jam and you're stuck waiting forever. Here's a little trick seasoned travelers use. Head straight to the bathroom before leaving the plane. Why? Because once you're off the aircraft, airport restrooms near immigration or baggage claim are often packed with long lines. But inside the plane, after landing, hardly anyone thinks to use the lavatory. Most passengers are too focused on getting off as quickly as possible. That means you've got a clean, empty bathroom all to yourself. No rushing, no waiting. The best part? By the time you step into the aisle, the crowd might have already moved a bit, making your exit less stressful. And don't worry, cabin crew usually don't mind as long as you wait until the seatbelt sign is off. It's a simple hack, but it can save you time and give you a more comfortable start to the next leg of your journey. So there you have it. 16 airline secrets that flight attendants, pilots, and seasoned travelers know but rarely share. From ghost flights to lounge hacks, these little-known tricks prove flying is full of hidden stories and smart shortcuts. Which one surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you found these tips helpful, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss more insider travel content. Thanks for watching and safe travels on your next adventure.